And now, I would like to turn to another issue, one that touches all of us, Democrats and Republicans, rich and poor, young and old, West Virginians and New Yorkers alike. Madam President, as you know, the prescription drug epidemic is destroying communities across this nation. It's wreaking havoc on our educational system, it's devastating our workforce and our economy, and tearing our families apart. Prescription drug abuse is the fastest growing drug problem in the United States, and it is claiming the lives of thousands of Americans every year. According to a report issued by the Center for Disease Control in November, the death toll from overdoses of prescription painkillers has more than tripled in the past decade. More than 40 people die every day, every single day, from overdoses involving narcotic pain relievers. These prescription painkillers kill more Americans than heroin and cocaine combined. It's especially tough in my home state of West Virginia, which has the highest rate of drug overdose deaths in the country. Nearly 90% of those deaths are linked to prescription drugs abuse. For months now, I've been going out and listening to the stories of so many people in my state, law enforcement, business owners, school teachers, pastors, and especially the children who ask for help to get their parents off this stuff. So I worked with all of them to offer an amendment to this bill that would make it harder for anyone to abuse prescription drugs. That bipartisan amendment was submitted on behalf of the countless West Virginians and Americans whose lives have been cut short by drug abuse and the families who are picking up the pieces. And it is on their behalf that I thank my colleagues in the Senate for passing it last night unanimously. Madam President, I was so moved and encouraged to see the members of the U.S. Senate come together across party lines and unanimously approve this measure to take a serious step to fight this prescription drug epidemic. I strongly urge our friends in the House to do the same, and the President to sign this important bill. This measure is not the work of just one person. However, I'd like to thank the co-sponsors of this bill who all believe so strongly in it. Senator Mark Kirk, my dear friend from Illinois, Senator Kristen Gillibrand of New York, and Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, and of course, my senior senator from West Virginia, Senator Jay Rockefeller. I also want to thank Governor Earl Ray Tomblin and Congressman Nick Rahall for their tireless work on this issue, along with Congressman Vern Buchanan of Florida, who is doing excellent work to end the pill mills. As we all know, last night's vote gives this amendment a solid step forward, but there is much work remaining to give our communities the right tools to fight this epidemic. That's because all too often we all hear stories like this one, which the Ohio County Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition in my state shared with me. A young boy was injured and was prescribed prescription painkillers containing hydrocodone. After the injury, he began using the opiates with the other teens in his school. They began by taking pills and eventually, by graduation, snorting the pills on a daily basis. One day, he was convinced by a friend to try IV use. He was married. He was able to hold down a job until he began using it through IV. His wife was addicted to painkillers, and their child was born addicted to drugs. He wanted more than anything to be a hardworking father and husband. He wanted to live and to amend his past behaviors. He completed treatment, but eventually began using painkillers again. This man, in his mid-20s, overdosed and died. Think about it. This young man was snorting pills by high school graduation and dead in his mid-20s. Unfortunately, that story is more common than we would all like to believe. A 2012 study by the National Institute on Drug Abuse found that 8% of high school seniors had admitted to abusing Vicodin in the past year. The Centers for Disease Control has found that about 12 million Americans have reported non-medical use of prescription painkillers in the past year. Unlike many illegal drugs, prescription drugs aren't produced in basement labs or smuggled across the border. They are found in our own medicine cabinets and are often prescribed for medically necessary reasons. And that makes it much easier for people to become addicted or abuse these medications. In 2010 alone, pharmacies dispensed the equivalent of 42 tons of pure hydrocodone. That is enough to give every man, woman, and child in America 24 Vicodin pills. The fact is, the number is just too high. People are getting these pills because it's just too easy. That is why this amendment would make it harder to get addictive prescription drugs by moving them to a more restrictive category in our official drug classification system. Practicality, this means that patients would need an original prescription for refills and pills and would have to be stored more securely. I just want to say this to the chairman, to both of our chairmen on both sides of the aisle. Thank you so much for a piece of legislation that's much needed. Thank you for an amendment that is agreed upon, voted upon unanimously and accepted last night. It's going to go a long way to fight the drug abuse in America and save countless children's lives. Thank you. Thank you so much.